Welcome back to another video, guys. On this one, we're going to get stuck into the fuel system for the R32 Skyline.
Tell me, is it whack up in the air? Rapping scattered off the gear. I can map him, get the air. It's like a tracker, get distracted, send him back like in the mail. Not a fraction of them real. Catch him lacking, run the drill. Running through the shit like a motherfucking dage.
Alrighty, so finally, you might have recalled, like legit 3 months ago, I started doing the fuel system stuff for the R32. And then there was a bunch of fittings that were wrong, and I needed to change them for the right fittings, and also added a couple of fittings and whatnot. It's always the way with fuel systems, you always get it wrong the first 3 times. But anyway, we are at this stage now where I have all the fittings bar one thing that I'm missing. The whole dilemma, the reason why it took 3 months is because these new Bosch pumps, so there's a new version of the 044 pump, and now it's called a 580 or a 464, whatever the hell, one of those two. And it's a better pump, it works better, it's smaller, doesn't get as hot, and yeah, so it's better, but it needed a special check valve because this thread here is completely different to the last pump. Also, the other thing I noticed is the physical size is smaller, so it doesn't fit in the brackets. Just 2 shit things. Took ages to get these, and now I need to get a different bracket. I could make something up to make it work, but anyway. The good part is I can get this in the car, mount it, and start running all the lines. Hopefully get all the lines ran. I can mount this now because I was missing a fitting that goes off the rail. Got that now, so we can do all this in this episode. And yeah, there's a bunch of fittings that aren't going to be used, and yeah, it's always the way. There's hose and shit everywhere. I got cutters. I also got some radiator hose. It's not really related, but got that, and some heat sleeving. This shit, highly recommend anywhere where there's like the exhaust dump pipe, because yeah, it'll just melt your lines. I got this fitting. Got this fitting that goes into the block and to a -10, so I can run off the turbo oil drain. That one with some fittings there for that. So we can do that as well, because that's something that I used to just run the what do you call it? You can't see, but that's the one that goes into the block. I used to just run hose here, just like a heavy duty high temp hose, but we're going to get rid of that and run a braided line. With the fuel lines running from front to back, I'm going to try and mount them probably on this side here, so it's close to where it's going to come up, but we're going to mount them onto the rail here and use like nutserts, or even try and reuse some of the threads that are there. Hopefully they're in good condition, and then we have to put a hole up through here somewhere, and I'll show you the layout, what we're going to have up in the boot for the surge tank. So just a quick explanation on what's going on here. We have a lift pump, which is quite small. It's a high rate but low pressure pump, so it will pump up a shitload of fuel but not at a high pressure, which is, these ones are high pressure or higher pressure, which I've learned is bad, because I used to run 3 of these and have one that just is your lift pump, because this sucks it out of your tank and into your surge tank. I used to have one of these, but turns out it heats up your fuel too much. These ones here won't get it hot, so that's going to make a world of difference really. So you suck it out of your fuel tank into a surge tank, which is pretty much just for drifting, because when you're drifting, the back of your car is going like this, and the fuel is getting slapped around in the tank. And when it goes all the way to one side, if your fuel's pretty low and it goes all the way to one side, the pickup's just sucking air, so you get a surge and the car's jolting and carrying on. And with a surge tank, you don't get that, because you have a supply of fuel all the way to the top, ready to go. So these pumps can suck out fuel, so it's constantly got fuel there ready to go. It sucks the fuel out of the surge tank, joins into one, goes through a filter, and then it comes out here. So in through a -8 hose, and that -8 will go up to the front of the car, which comes along to this Y splitter, splits it back into 2-6s. One of these go to each side of the fuel rail, and then it comes out of the middle of the fuel rail and joins up with your fuel pressure regulator, which is upside down like that. Comes into here. This regulates the pressure of the system, and then it goes back out here along the bottom of the car back into the tank here, and then we have a drain that, so overflow, it flows back from here into the tank, and that's the full circuit. So we're going to get this in the boot, have a look at the layout, mount it, and start running all the hoses. Got to cut them to size obviously, and we went Teflon, so it's pretty legit. Don't want to stuff it up. So I just spent like the whole last hour mounting this fuel pressure reg and putting this one hose on. I think I've done it right. Like, I don't think you can really do it wrong. There's like a little olive. I'll show you more in depth on the next hose, but I was just having a go at this. And obviously this little bracket that they give you is obviously going to be stainless steel, so you can't freaking drill through it easy, which is nice, so thanks for that. But it is strong. Anyway, I've just mounted it just down there. It's all black, so you can't even see it. But the gauge only fits into this hole, and it's like, it made it hard to mount it somewhere that was going to look good. So I might get it like in a little adapter and put the gauge on the front here, or just not run a gauge. But that's done. Now next up I'm gonna install this little wire join. Where did it go? Oh, I must have put it over here. So next up I'm gonna install this little Y splitter and figure out exactly where it's gonna go down in there. And then there's gonna be one hose that goes from here to each side of the rail, and there's going to be the main feed will run up to here. So I'm just going to try and find some space under there where it can go and where it's all going to line up and work well. Luckily we have a hoist, so we can just lift it up in the air. Yeehaw. Well, that turned out so much better than what I thought it was going to be. Comes with a one Allen head bolt that goes in the center there, and there was already all these threads here, and I just picked one that lines up pretty good with where I need it, and yeah, pretty much just mounted it straight to there, straight away. Didn't even have to custom make anything. Pretty sure that the left one at the top there is going to be sweet to go that way. This one here might have to change that fitting to like a 45 degree. I'm talking about this angle here, because it's facing straight towards the gearbox or the starter motor, but I'm going to put a hose on there to see what sort of flexibility we have to run it up to that right angle fitting up there. This is really hard to film. But then this one here should be sweet, just to run straight down here and all the way to the back of the car. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where it's going to live, which is just really cool. Really, really cool. So nice and neat. Yeah, I think on the 180 I had it like zip tied up, so this is pretty cool. So I'm just going to make some lines to go to the rail now, and then you can see up under there, that's on the underside of the fuel pressure reg. There's going to be a hose that comes off there and comes down here, meets up with this one, and you have two going back. Happy days, mate, happy days. Okay, so you need to cut your hose to size, obviously. Got these huge ass freaking cutters. They do the job, but they're not perfect. Like, it's definitely not the best cut. Like, you want it to be circle, but anyway, if you put a bit of tape around it, it does help with like the burrs going everywhere. Another thing with the burrs is I'd probably recommend wearing gloves, because they get in your fingers. This is stainless steel and it freaking hurts like a bitch. So yeah, I recommend that. Also, plastic around here, you take that off, and then it looks bloody beautiful underneath. So I'll show you how to do this next part with the fitting. Alright, so you got your fitting, you unscrew the end of it. There's all different types of fittings as well, by the way. This is the Teflon series. I don't know, the one with a freaking like lip on the end here. You got a little olive in here, and the end of your hose is like that. First thing you want to do is get the collar part. I don't know the proper names for this shit, but you need to get this piece over the end of your over the end like that. Sometimes it works easier than others, but anyway, get it on that like that. You want to get your olive and get it inside the stainless, but on the outside of the nylon hose on the inside. And then what I've been doing is I've just been getting this and pushing it down onto the bench, so the flat edge pushes the hose all the way in. So now we have the white part pushed all the way up. If you're doing it yourself, you'll be able to see what I mean. And then this here just pushes in. Slides in like that. And then the collar screws on with the thread. And then yeah, you just tighten it up. It's actually so easy compared to the like push lock fittings. These are freaking easy compared to that, I'll tell you that much. But yeah, just tighten it up, get it pretty much all the way tight, and then go put it in the car and get the angle that you want, and then you just nip it up the rest of the way and it won't be able to move that way. But yeah, how nice is this line, eh? Pretty cool, pretty cool. Alright, so made some progress here. We got the return line there done. You got the feed going up to the rail on this side, and same on the back side there. It's all black so you can't even see it. And down in there we have that Y join. We've got the fuel pressure regulator mounted, and I put some heat freaking wrapping, what do you call this shit again? Heat sleeve over the oil lines and the water lines, so that's all in there. I've got the head drain hose connected now, and that goes down to the fitting on the sump there, so that's done now. Oh, and then also I put on the black silicone on the intercooler piping, so it looks way better in black. Just another thing that you can't see, everything's just blending in at the moment, which is nice. And then moving on to the back, which is the part I'm trying to figure out. So I've got the beast set up in here. You could, mind you, this freaking 3-pump setup, you could do like over 1,000 horsepower. It's definitely overkill, but I like to do the fuel system overkill because it's one of the main things that the tuners run into issues with, is not having enough fuel. We don't want that. So I was going to mount it like either on this side here or that side there, and then I was thinking like in a crash, if I take out this whole corner back to here, I could damage the fuel system. So if I put it up in there, like for that to get damaged in a crash, you have to have a pretty freaking gnarly crash, and you're probably not going to be, that's going to be the least of your worries. So yeah, I'm thinking about mounting it up here. It is on an angle though, so I was going to put like a plate there and mount it on the plate, get it level. Not that it matters too much. And then this fitting here, I was thinking about like cutting a hole so that can spin around, because it's a 90 degree. Cut a hole here so it can spin around and just poke out the bottom. That's my thoughts there. Also, got to get to that filter to clean it out quite often because it's going to be E85. I need a little bit more hose here. I need to put a hole in here for the hose coming from the engine back into here, and then I need to make a hose from there onto the front of the fuel tank. So I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this fuel tank. It's pretty small, so I might. I'm on the hunt for a big 76 litre one, like a big boy alley one. So if anyone has one for sale, let me know. But yeah, at the moment I'm just mocking up with this one, I think. So I'll mount this and shit and get it all sorted, and then that'll be the fuel system done. I'm gonna wrap this episode up here, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed another step on the R32 Progress. It's freaking, I was dreading doing the fuel system, to be honest, but it's one of those things where you get in there, you just start cutting some hose and it all goes together pretty freaking easy. But still a bit to do on this, but I'm gonna do that off camera because it'll be way faster, to be honest. And I hope you guys enjoy the episode. Like the video, drop a comment below, and yeah, subscribe to the channel. Brad's over there just having a ball on his 180.